After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Aaron Williams. The hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us to kick off a Monday in which the Jacksonville Jaguars are back at work, getting ready for the Las Vegas Raiders. The bye week is in the rearview mirror. What an absolutely gigantic football game for the Jaguars coming up here on Sunday, 4 o'clock. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL with the pregame coverage beginning right about 11. We'll have the fifth quarter for you 2 hours after the game goes final. The Jaguars at 4-3. Are the Jaguars the 4-1 team that we saw 5 weeks in with wins over Houston, San Francisco, and Kansas City? Or are the Jaguars more the team that lost to Seattle and, quite frankly, were embarrassed by the LA Rams over in London? I think this Sunday is going to kind of give us an inkling into that. We'll see if the Jaguars were able to clean up a lot of problems they had, from their penalties to the drop passes to the offensive line issues. There's a lot to get into when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we will do that coming up here in less than 15 minutes. My buddy Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It's always Monday night coaching with Campo here on Hacker After Dark. Also, big news in the college football world. Obviously, Saturday, 3:30, right here on 1010XL, is the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. The Florida Gators, their first game since the firing of Billy Napier. They will take on the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia is a favorite, not a big favorite, though. I think it's only like a 7.5, 8-point line. I thought that was kind of interesting. But certainly Georgia, a big favorite going in my opinion. Again, we'll see how Florida responds to Billy Gonzalez, the interim coach, taking over. But from a Gator point of view, I don't know if there's much interest in the next 5 weeks. I'm curious. I mean, certainly you have rivalry games against Georgia, Tennessee, Florida State. You actually will play Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. From that standpoint, I would think there's intrigue. But overwhelmingly, from people I've talked to in Gator circles over the last week, it's more along the lines of who is going to lead Florida in 2026, as opposed to how is Florida going to finish in 2025. So we will talk a lot about the cocktail parties. Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247, later on in the 9 o'clock hour. And Bill Bender, National College Football writer of the Sporting News. We'll talk a little Florida, Georgia, but I want to talk about the Gator coaching search. Now, all of a sudden, the LSU coaching search, as they fired Brian Kelly last night. Isn't it amazing? Think about this for a moment. Brian Kelly and Billy Napier were hired 48 hours apart, late November of 2021. And now Brian Kelly and Billy Napier are fired a week apart in October of 2025. How crazy is that? Neither one got the job done at either Florida or LSU. And for the second time in 4 years, both the Bengal Tigers and the Gators job is open. And is it simply going to be a bidding war for Lane Kiffin, or will it go a little deeper than that? Well, we'll certainly talk with Bill Bender from the Sporting News about all that coming up towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour. As always, we are glad you are with us to kick off a Monday here on Hacker After Dark. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with the big deal of the night and Aaron Williams. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Back to work for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Did you shake out the cobwebs of the bye week? Did you shake out the cobwebs of the 35-7 beatdown you suffered at Wembley Stadium at the hands of the LA Rams? I certainly hope so, because it was ugly over there in London, England for Jacksonville. Remember 13 penalties, numerous drop passes, 7 quarterback sacks allowed. It was as ugly a Jaguar game as we've seen, quite frankly, in a while, right? There were even games last year that the Jaguars lost that were not as ugly as that. You probably have to go back to Monday Night Football last year against Buffalo to find a game as embarrassing as Wembley Stadium was 8 days ago. And I thought we were over that. I'm sure you thought we were over that. And it was unfortunate that that was the last game going into the bye week. As we said last week, there are two different types of 4-3 records. There's 4-3 with hope and optimism, and then there's 4-3 where you are limping into 4-3, and it looks like the Titanic is going down. That's where the Jaguars are right now. It's the latter. Now, I think Sunday, and we'll talk about it all week, I think Sunday is an enormous game. And you can say, well, Hacker, every game's enormous. It's the NFL. Yeah, that's true. Every game is big. But let me tell you why, to me, the Las Vegas game is so big on Sunday. If you win the game, you're 5-3. The waters have calmed, right? The ship has been righted, steered into the good path. And you kind of think, all right, 5-3, control our own destiny for everything we want moving forward. If you lose, you go from 4-1 to 4-4. You are leaking oil in a major way, and you have to go to Houston to play a division road game against a Texan team in Week 10 that will be awfully fired up to see you based on the way the game ended here a few weeks ago. I think if you lose to the Raiders, you're back to 500. You're staring a loss to Houston in the face. And then if you go from 4-1 to 4-5, the wheels potentially could come off at that point. This is a winnable game for the Jaguars. This is a game where I feel they are better than the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are awful, by the way. The game they played before the bye against Kansas City, they got absolutely destroyed. I mean, destroyed by the Chiefs. Jacksonville should go out there and win the game. But I was telling Baloo this earlier off air. I'll share it with you right now. Maybe I'm guilty of this. I always accuse Jaguar fan of having football-related, Jaguar-related stress syndrome, whatever you want to call it, based on years and years of beatings that the Jaguars have suffered on Sunday afternoons. I already have a bad feeling about this game on Sunday, and we're still 6 days away. And maybe that feeling will go away. Maybe after I get into the locker room on Wednesday, do some one-on-one interviews, get a better vibe of where this team is heading out to Las Vegas. Maybe my opinion will change. But I'm telling you right now, I'm going to lay it all out there for you on a Monday. How about that? Laying it all out there for you on a Monday, 6 days before this game kicks off. Guys, I got a bad feeling. Geno Smith has been terrible, but you know as well as I do, that guy is good for 2 or 3 really good performances each year. And why do I have a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach that Sunday afternoon's going to roll around, and this is going to be one of Geno Smith's 270-yard, 3-touchdown performances? Ashton Genty has looked decent so far. Can the Jaguars stop him in the running game? Brock Bowers hasn't been healthy the entire year. He just had a bye week to get healthier. The Jaguars have not done well against tight ends as of late. I'm telling you, I just got a bad feeling. Maybe it's indigestion, right? Maybe it's indigestion. Maybe that's the feeling. Maybe I had some bad Chinese food, whatever, and the Jaguars will prove me wrong. And like I said, I have a lot of time to change my mind. I'll be down in the locker room on Wednesday. I'll be talking to people. I'll be going out to Las Vegas, getting the Raider perspective of this game as well. But as we sit here 6 days out, I do not have a positive feeling about this game. I think Las Vegas is due. They're coming off a bye as well. They thought about getting embarrassed by Kansas City for the last 2 weeks. The Jaguars have to go out there. From that standpoint, I don't like the way it's shaping up. But I'll go back to what my original thought was about this game, okay? I'm not going to make a prediction yet. I'm just telling you I don't have a good feeling on a Monday night 6 days out. But my original thought is simply this. You're 4-3 right now. All was right with the world 3 weeks ago tonight. Do you know where you were 3 weeks ago tonight? You were at Everbank Stadium watching Devin Lloyd return an interception off of Patrick Mahomes, 99 yards for a touchdown. 3 weeks ago tonight, you saw Trevor Lawrence hit Brian Thomas Jr. on a 3rd and 7 down to the 33-yard line of the Chiefs. A couple of plays later, you saw Trevor Lawrence fall to the ground, have the presence of mind to get up and score a game-winning touchdown to beat Kansas City for the first time in 16 years. You were 4-1, and that was 21 days ago tonight. And in the last 2 weeks since then, you lose to Seattle, you get embarrassed by LA, you have a bye week to stew on it, and now you're 4-3, and I got a very bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. Things can change in this league very quickly. Think about how different the Jaguars are looked at now compared to where they were just 21 days ago. My plea to the Jaguar organization is to prove me wrong, right? In 21 days from now, 3 weeks from now, can they reverse the tide? The tide was great for the first 5 weeks. The tide has been awful for the last 20 days. Prove me wrong and change the course of this season and get it back on the right track. That begins Sunday in Las Vegas. I don't think they're going to do it because I've seen this story too many times about a must-win game and Jacksonville falls on their face. I know it's a different staff. I know it's a lot of new players, but it's that uniform, man. Maybe it's the logo. I just have a bad feeling about Sunday, and I am simply pleading with the Jaguars. Prove me wrong. Change the narrative and go out to Las Vegas in what I feel is a must-win game and get a victory over the Raiders to right the ship of this 2025 season, get to 5-3, and get ready for a huge road game against the Houston Texans a week from Sunday. We're going to know an awful lot about this Jaguar season over the next 13 days. These 2 road games, at Las Vegas, at Houston, you're going to know a lot about what this season holds for the Jaguars moving forward by what happens over these next 2 Sundays. Let's talk about all of it with my buddy Dave Campo. A little Monday night coaching with Campo. Always love talking to the head coach, the former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. He's our head coach. Here on Hacker After Dark, we'll review the first 7 games. We'll take a look ahead to the second half of the season. We'll talk Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence, and more. Dave Campo joins me next on a Monday night here in the city of Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
A strong fence makes a good fence. A strong defense makes a good team.
They're the best defense in the league for a reason.
Each week, Superior Fence and Rail presents the Defensive Player of the Game.
Go, let's go!
On 1010XL.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
After our son's shoulder issues were worsening, we took him to see Dr. Snyder at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, who recommended PRP treatment. We trusted Dr. Snyder's evaluation and look forward to seeing him pitch again. For the right care, the best care, we highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
XL Primetime is back weekdays noon to 2, and on Wednesdays, join Dr. George Bari at 1:20 for the latest in sports injuries from all the big names in the game. Make sure you catch Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime Wednesdays at 1:20 on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, you look troubled. Is something bugging you?
This friendship isn't all upside for me, Jason. People keep asking me stuff about you.
They ask you about me?
Is it really cooler with Bueller, they ask. So I say, totally. And they say, how do you mean that? And I say, he fixes air conditioners, which literally makes somebody cool. But he also has cool sunglasses and cool people and a cool family.
And I try to make working at Bueller Air and Plumbing a really cool experience for our technicians and plumbers. We treat our people like gold, and they treat our homeowners the exact same way.
Great. Well, now there's another cool thing I've got to remember. This is a lot of responsibility, Jason.
Life can get hectic sometimes. If you don't take a moment to slow down and appreciate all the cool parts, you could miss it.
Do people ask you about me at all?
Weirdly, they do.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, Prosser here, and right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, saved $2,100 a month. One call, life change. There's no wait, no hard credit pull. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 914-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Call 914-999-1508. See how much cash you can get today. You can also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 16617881. On approved credit, visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. Hurricanes happen in Florida. That's not news. But what happens even more often than hurricanes are home break-ins. And if security is important to you, you might want to look into hurricane-rated impact windows.
What you may not know is that hurricane-rated impact windows not only help protect your home in case of a hurricane, but they also offer another level of security for your home.
Have you seen those videos on YouTube that show people trying to break through an impact window? A thief is way too lazy to spend his energy trying to break through one of our impact windows. That's why he doesn't have a real job like you. He'd rather break your non-impact window while you're at work. Window World has high-quality, very affordable hurricane-rated impact windows to help protect your home from hurricanes and from lazy thieves.
Call us today at 904-443-7001. Get a free estimate and see for yourself. You save energy, get more security, and the windows add value to your home. With all Window World windows, you get the best guarantee in the window replacement business.
Window World, simply the best for less. And thank you for your business.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker, After Dark, on 1010XL. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Raiders, Sunday, 4 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. The Jaguars off a bye at 4-3 in what is a very important game to begin the second half of their season. A little Monday night coaching with Campo. Never hurt anybody. We love having the head coach, Dave Campo, former coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and he's always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, it's been a couple of weeks, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Getting settled here in the Dallas area. And, you know, this was a rough weekend because a week ago our Jags got smashed, and yesterday the Cowboys got worked over. So that's not the best. But other than that, I'm doing really good.
Well, we certainly appreciate you joining us. And, yeah, you and I did not talk after the Rams game. Going into a bye week, Coach, after a beating like that, is that a good time for a bye? Would you hope to get right back on the field to try to right that wrong? Because that was certainly not a good look over there at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, I would consider it the right time. I mean, you know, listen, this team has been affected a little bit, and you know, people don't like to hear this. I don't like to say it, but it is a fact. This team has been hurt a little bit with injuries. And I think when you have a chance to kind of get away from it with guys, especially after a bad loss, coupled with having some guys maybe get well with a little time, I think that's a plus. So, I'm looking forward to this next ball game. I think that the guys, overall have made some progress, and it can happen to anybody on any given week. So I think it's a good thing.
Coach, obviously the penalties continue to be an issue. The drops continue to be an issue. And look, every week we hear that, we're going to clean up the penalties and we're going to clean up the drops. Well, I mean, it's going to be the first Sunday in November here. This is the 8th game of the year. At a certain point, right, that is kind of who you are. And what do you do about the penalties and the drops that continue to plague this football team?
Well, the pre-snap penalties are the real issue because – that's something they can clean up. There's no question that you got a new scheme, you got a lot of motion, you got a lot of shifting, you got a lot of change of plays at the line of scrimmage. It's tougher on the road, obviously, when you got, the crowd noise and this and that. Those are things that you can continue to work out, and change. This team has been played, a little bit too much with the holding and, those kind of things, because those things indicate that somebody's beating you, and that's an issue. I think sometimes you can't help it. If I'm an offensive lineman or an offensive line coach and a guy beats me to the quarterback, I'm gonna hold him. I mean, that's the bottom line. And, I don't want my quarterback hit or whatever. So it's two types of penalties. And listen, they're giving up 75 yards a game to penalties. It cannot continue. You can't beat good teams doing that for sure.
The head coach, Dave Campo, with us here on Hacker After Dark. We'll get to Travis Hunter in a moment. That was the positive against the Rams moving forward. The negative, obviously, was basically the rest of the wide receivers. Look, the Brian Thomas Jr. stuff is a problem at this point. I don't think there's any question about that. But when you have Parker Washington dropping balls, De'Ami Brown's among the league leaders in drops. Coach, I don't know what else you can do if you're Liam Cohen and the offensive staff. I mean, at a certain point, professional football players just have to catch the football, right? There's not a whole lot of coaching talking points that can be made there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, if they have a grain of salt to them, they're going to go on the jugs machine and continue to work on it. And you got to continue to, you can't stop throwing it to them, or else you got to put somebody else out there. So, and they don't have the luxury of putting somebody else out there. So it comes down to concentration, and, those are things that you have to keep pushing. Listen, when I look at this football team, Hack, and I'm sure you're going to ask the question, I'm going to answer it ahead of time. I'm happy that they're 4-3. This football team, this 7 games that they played are the toughest part of the schedule, in my opinion. So to be better than 500 in that stretch, that's great. But there are a number of red flags that are showing up, and obviously one of those is that number 7, BTJ, is not playing anywhere near what everybody expected. I'm sure it's not what he expected as well. So, the red flags are out there. I think at this point right now, they've figured out they better get the ball to number 12 because he's the only one that's got a chance to do something special at this point.
Well, that was the silver lining at Wembley Stadium, and that loss to the Rams was a 8-catch, 101-yard, 1-touchdown performance for Travis Hunter. And what I really liked, Coach, is he was targeted 14 times. I mean, that obviously needs to continue, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, and he's got to take the reins from the standpoint that, he's got to make the catches that he has to make. And, if he continues to improve and go forward that way, it will help the other guys too, because, that obviously opens up some other things. So I think that one of the things that's really hurt them offensively is the fact that, Brent Strange being out is a big factor to that offense, in my opinion, because I think arguably you could say in the first half of the season, he's one of the best players on the team. So I think the combination of those two, if Strange comes back, and I don't know what the situation is with him right now, you probably have more of an idea than I do, but if they're both out there at the same time, they're going to have to, handle the load here, and the other players have just got to come on.
Couple of more for the head coach, Dave Campo. Yeah, Brenton Strange will miss at least the next 2 games, and then we'll have to evaluate where things are from there. He got put on the short-term IR, which means he had to miss 4 games. He's missed 2 of those so far, so he won't be available for the Raiders game or the Texans game, and then we will see what happens when the Chargers come in, I believe, on November the 16th. Offensive line-wise, Coach, 14 sacks in 2 games. Now, I don't say all of them are on the O-line. Trevor can get the ball out quicker. The wide receivers can get open. And certainly the game dictates, the offensive line performance, because when you're trailing by 14, the defense knows you got to pass every play. So you got to take all that into account. Having said that, the offensive line hasn't been very good, and they certainly need to get better much quicker, because Max Crosby is looming on Sunday out there in Las Vegas.
Yeah, there's no question that, when I look at the offensive line, there have been some games that they've been very good. And then, there are some games like the last couple of weeks where defensive guys have made plays. Remember, at Houston, they were pretty good against a good pass rushing football team. So they've got to just kick their game up a notch. And, again, I think it's inconsistency. I think you could say that offensively for everybody. You see one great catch, you see one great run, you see one great throw, and you see a couple of great protections, but you don't see it consistently. And to me, our offensive line is probably, in my opinion, maybe a little better than average, but no more than that. So there's going to be some situations where the quarterback has to make up for it. There's going to be some situations where they're going to have to scheme some things to get people open or get them, in a position to where, they can make a play. And the running game, the offensive line has got to kick it up a notch again like they did early in the season.
Final moments with the head coach, Dave Campo, a little Monday night coaching with Campo here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, quickly, let's go to your bread and butter, the defense. The secondary has gotten beat over the top in back-to-back games against Seattle and the Rams. Davante Adams basically did whatever he wanted on last Sunday at Wembley Stadium. And look, the Las Vegas passing game isn't anything great, but if the Jaguars secondary doesn't play better, it doesn't really matter. The NFL wide receivers will find openings, and a lot of that has to do with the lack of pass rush. They're simply not affecting the opposing quarterback, Coach, so there are issues on this defense right now.
Yeah, no question. The red flags are out. I think that it's a combination of the one thing I look at on the defense, I think they're better against the run this year, which is a start, in my opinion, because, if a team can run on you, you don't have no chance. Okay. So I think that they've done a better job there. I think the red flags are, there's a little bit of pressure, but no sacks. I mean, you're looking at Allen. Chason from Carolina has 4.5 sacks. He's got a half a sack. And I think even his pressure has gone down a little bit with Walker being, banged up. I think Walker's one of the better players on the football team. Everybody can have their own opinion on that. But, when he's out there, they've been better than when he's been banged up a little bit. He has a couple sacks. I think Armstead has probably done a little better than everybody thought he would. He's got 3.5 sacks. So the problem, to me, is the lack of pass rush. And then you're looking out there at the safeties, they have cover issues. They're in better position to do things, but when it comes to covering, they're struggling. And to me, that really puts the pressure on the signal caller. The only way they're going to get pass rush right now is to put extra pressure on, from a blitz package. But if you can't cover anybody, you got issues. And the other concern I have is, I don't know whether it's a hamstring issue still with Newsome, but he's been poor in my opinion. He's soft. He hasn't done much of anything at this point. Like you said, maybe the bye week will get him a little healthier and maybe a little bit more competitive in what he's doing. But, the whole issue is the combination of the pass rush, like you said, and you know the coverage has not been up to par, especially the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, my thought on Newsome is he came in the Thursday before the Seattle game. I don't even know why they threw him out there on Sunday. Then they have to travel to London, on Monday. And so, I mean, he really hasn't even had any time in the building. And hopefully the bye week, 2 full weeks of practice, he'll actually be integrated a little bit into the Jaguar defensive scheme beginning this Sunday out in Las Vegas. Coach, final question. We got about 90 seconds. To me, what a gigantic game, right? I mean, the monument of difference between 5-3 and 4-4. If you win the game on Sunday, the water's calm a little bit, the boat is righted a little bit at 5-3. If you lose, you go from 4-1 to 4-4 with a trip to Houston the next week. And look, you're gonna at that point probably fall under 500, and the wheels may come off. The Raiders are not very good. Now they've had a bye week as well. But my goodness, what a huge game for the Jaguars on Sunday.
Yeah, beating the 2 Super Bowl level teams in San Francisco and Kansas City, those were big games for the confidence. Now this game is the biggest game, in my opinion, because this is one that actually puts you in a position to say that you're a contender for the division, a contender for the playoffs, all those kind of things. If you go 4-4 at this point, especially after coming off a big butt kicking and a bye, you're on a downward spiral, in my opinion. So it's a huge ball game. I don't ever think that one ball game makes a season, but this one is as close to it, in my opinion, as there can be, because it is winnable. But again, you got to go on the road and you got to perform in a away game environment.
The head coach, Dave Campo, always Monday night coaching with Campo here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, I know you're busy. Thank you for taking time out, bud, and we'll do it again real soon.
Absolutely. I enjoy being on with you, Hack, and best of luck with the week, and give your family a hug for me.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Jacksonville, are you ready? The college basketball season is tipping off soon with an epic in-state showdown. The defending national champion Florida Gators and the Miami Hurricanes go head-to-head in the Jacksonville Hoop Showdown. Be there Sunday, November 16th at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena and witness this in-state rivalry live. Secure your seats now at Ticketmaster.com. It's Florida versus Miami right here at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, November 16th. Ticketmaster.com.
Post-game Monday on 1010XL. Served by Tandy Foods, making quality fresh sandwiches since 1956.
This is Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. I'm honored to join Operation New Uniform as the guest speaker for their 70th graduation. This milestone event is more than a ceremony. It's a testament to faith, perseverance, and purpose. Operation New Uniform helps service members and veterans find purpose, confidence, and success after service. Join us as we honor these remarkable graduates and the mission that empowers heroes to find their next calling. Register today at onuvets.org. That's onuvets.org.
I know 2 brothers whose minds are always in the gutters.
Hi, I'm Tim. And I'm Kevin. We are the Good Brothers.
That's good with an E.
From Good Brothers Roofs and Gutters.
We install 6 and 7-inch seamless gutters, plus we repair and replace roofs, pool enclosures, and super gutters.
We are the Good Brothers, veteran-owned and local.
Visit goodbrothersroofsandgutters.com.
License number CCC 1334384.
Good Brothers Roofs and Gutters.
Hey, First Coast, it's your boy Leon Searcy, your lemon pepper guy. Back and better than ever for Wingstop. You know I can't resist those crispy, flavorful wings that make your taste buds dance. Wingstop just opened a hot new spot on Jeremiah Street in Middleborough. There's 17 locations now serving up the most mouth-watering wings in town. And my all-time favorite, lemon pepper. Try their new quick and easy ordering on the app and swing by today for fresh, hot wings made for you. Only at Wingstop.
Hey Jacksonville, Rick Ballou here. Small business owners need trucks and vans to keep your business moving? Jacksonville Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram Westside has Ram 1500s to heavy-duty 2500s, ProMasters, and custom uplifts ready to work. Visit them on Commonwealth Avenue or go online to jaxwest.com. Jacksonville Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram Westside, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and your local partner for work-ready vehicles.
I love my propane company. They always answer when I call and give me great prices and fast service. Said no one ever.
Until now. Need propane for your home or business? Seabreeze Propane is bringing the propane as North Florida's new local propane provider. Visit SeabreezeLP.com. Seabreeze Propane. We make propane cool, brother. Oh, yeah.
Expert Automotive on St. John's Bluff Road has some of the highest Google reviews in Jax for a reason. Expert Auto never sells greed, only what you need. All makes and models are serviced at Expert Automotive. This month, get an alignment inspection for only $19.99. Expert Auto does major engine and transmission repair and simple maintenance. All services done at Expert Auto by our ASC certified training technicians. Call today, 374-3373, and ask about $50 off any service. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Yeah, it's huge. We obviously had some guys a little nicked, and you go through some physical football games in the early part of the season, and so you need it. Everybody needs a reset and an opportunity to get away from it, spend some quality time with family and friends, and have that nice little mental and physical reset to now come into the building with everything ahead of us.
Hacker, After Dark on 1010XL.
The thoughts of Liam Cohen, Jaguar head coach. Thank you to our friends at Jaguars.com. That was earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center as the Jaguars begin preparations for the Las Vegas Raiders coming up this Sunday, 4 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear it right here on 1010XL. By the way, week number 8, rounding out tonight, Monday Night Football. No Jaden Daniels for Washington, but they're holding their own right now in Arrowhead. Scoreless game. Commanders have the ball. Marcus Mariota in at quarterback. In for the injured Jaden Daniels tonight. Right about midfield. 2.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Now, basically the entire year, if the playoffs started today, we could say, well, the Jaguars would be in the playoffs, right? That will no longer be the case, at least temporarily, if Kansas City wins tonight, because Kansas City would get win number 5, even though Jacksonville has a tiebreaker over them. Kansas City would be 5-3 and would be in the 7th spot. Jacksonville would be 4-3 and fall to the 8th spot, if you care about such things. If Washington wins, which I don't expect to happen, but hey, they're holding their own early, Jacksonville would still be in the 7th spot in the AFC playoffs going into week number 9. But first and foremost, again, that's just if you care about that sort of stuff. The bottom line is you need to beat Las Vegas very, very badly on Sunday to get the 5-3 on the year. Couple of more from Liam Cohen. You know, one of the more interesting questions for the last 10 games, and something that you hoped the Jaguars figured out during the bye week, was Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. was a guy that many people thought here in Jacksonville, myself included, after what he did last year, man, top 10 wide receiver, maybe a top 5 wide receiver coming out of 2025. And unfortunately, he has not lived up to that hype, not even close. Now, we still have 10 games to go in the regular season, a long way to go. And Liam Cohen earlier today talked about how optimistic he still is on Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, I am very optimistic. You know, we have no plans on moving Brian Thomas Jr. At all. Saw something about that over the weekend. But I talked to him for a good amount of time this morning, and it's just a good reset for a lot of these guys to come in fresh, 4-3 with everything ahead of us. Regardless, good, bad, or indifferent, what's happened in the first 7 games, we all have an opportunity to write a narrative. We own the narrative, and so I got a lot of confidence in him. I really do believe that we can turn the corner and get better in the pass game that way.
Well, you need to turn the corner, and Brian Thomas Jr. is obviously a big, big part of that. I mean, if he starts looking, resembling anything like he was a year ago, well, then, yeah. I mean, this passing game could take off with the emergence of Travis Hunter. We'll get to him in a moment. But, my goodness, I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. has been a disappointment. De'Ami Brown, I think, has been a disappointment. Wide receiver-wise, I even think Parker Washington has been a disappointment. Now, in the return game, Parker Washington's been pretty good. But all 3 of those guys, Washington, Brown, and BTJ, have all dropped a lot of balls, man. Way too many footballs. But Brian Thomas Jr. is getting the bulk of the criticism, and with good reason, because, again, we were all under the assumption that he was going to be clearly wide receiver 1 and one of the best wide receivers in the league in 2025. That has not been the case. But if there was a silver lining at Wembley Stadium in London 8 days ago in that 35-7 beating at the hands of the Rams, it was Travis Hunter. 8 grabs for 101 yards and a touchdown. 14 targets, too, which I love. They tried to get Travis Hunter involved. Liam Cohen earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center was asked about the use going forward of rookie Travis Hunter.
Game against the Rams with he and Trevor building on a connection and making some plays towards the end of the game. Obviously, it was a little out of reach at the time, but you're still seeing competitive throws and catches in live action, which is something we've needed. So, you definitely look at how much more can he handle, how much more can we put him in a position to be successful on both offense and defense, and what does that look like? So it definitely gave us an opportunity as a staff to look at how we can continue to use him.
Again, the thoughts of Liam Cohen, courtesy of our friends at Jaguars.com. You take a look around the AFC South from this past weekend, the Tennessee Titans are awful. Look, Indianapolis is better than I thought they were. I will admit that. I still don't think they're as good as you would expect a 7-1 team to be. I think they will fall back to earth because of their schedule. But they only need to win, 4 more games probably? I mean, if they get to 11, I think they're going to win the division. Their games are tough, though. I will say that. They got to go to Kansas City. They got to go to Seattle. They got to go to Houston. They got to come here to Jacksonville. They got to go to Pittsburgh on Sunday. They have home games against the Texans, the Jaguars, the 49ers, and they get Atlanta over in Dublin, Ireland, I believe. Or maybe that's the game in Germany. It's one of the two. It's one of the international games. But you look at that schedule for Indy. I mean, what's the easiest game on there? Is it Atlanta? At Pittsburgh? I mean, maybe. You still got 2 against the Texans and 2 against the Jaguars. So even though Indy's out to a 7-1, they've already used up both of their Titan games, right? The Jaguars haven't seen the Titans yet. Indy's already used up their Raider game. They've already used up their Cardinal game. The Jaguars haven't seen the Raiders nor the Cardinals yet. So we'll see, but there is no arguing. 7-1, Indianapolis is good. On the flip side, watching Tennessee yesterday, holy cow, they are terrible. Brian Callahan's already been fired. I don't know if you guys saw this earlier today, but the Titans made another trade. Roger McCreary, they already traded one of their starting 3 corners in Brownlee earlier, Jarvis Brownlee. They traded him to the Jets a couple of weeks back. Well, today they trade Roger McCreary to L.A. So you've traded 2 of your top 3 corners. The other corner, L'Jarius Sneed, is maybe the most overpaid player in the NFL based on production. The Titans are just bad right now. They're 1-7, and quite frankly, they're lucky to be 1-7 because they had no business beating Arizona. And then give Houston props. That's a nice win for the Texans. Maybe a turning of the corner win for Houston, beating San Francisco yesterday without Nico Collins and without Christian Kirk. Nice win for the Texans. They get to 3-4. They have another tough game this Sunday when Denver goes in there, and then the Jaguars go in there. So Houston, back-to-back home games, Denver, Jacksonville, the Jaguars, back-to-back road games, Las Vegas, Houston. We're going to know an awful lot about the direction of the Texans and the Jaguars by the middle point of November based on what happens over these next 2 weeks. We're going to shift gears into college football. We will get back into the NFL in the 9 o'clock hour, but my goodness, we got the world's largest outdoor cocktail party on Saturday. We got a Gator head coaching opening. We got Lane Kiffin making some noise. We got Brian Kelly fired at LSU. How will that affect things for the Gator coaching search? And we have Florida State fans fuming that LSU can get a $53 million buyout done, but Florida State is choosing not to do that. We'll talk a little college ball next on a Monday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
No static ever. Download the free 1010XL app for Apple and Android devices and take us with you wherever you go. 1010XL.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Strap in, Duval. The Jaguars are gearing up to face the Los Angeles Chargers Sunday, November 16th for our annual Salute to Service game. Join us as we honor and celebrate the brave men and women of our military all game long. Secure your seats now and be a part of the action by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Let's stand together, Duval.
Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists congratulating our Scholar Athlete of the Week, Mikhail Petrie, a senior football and soccer player at Stanton College Prep. Mikhail is a member of the National Honor Society. He is also an AP Scholar with distinction.
Remember when they used to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? At Bank of America, we ask every day, what would you like the power to do? When you work here, you help build businesses, inspire communities, and forge legacies. And now we've raised our U.S. minimum wage to $25 an hour. So the opportunity to do more also comes with competitive pay. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/25. Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, Hicken here. Cooler weather right around the corner, but you can extend your swim season with Surfside Pools. This month, Surfside Pools offering 10% off new pool heaters or heater replacements and installation. Keep the good times rolling, no matter the season. Upgrade your pool heating system now for months of extra enjoyment. Only from Surfside Pools, the trusted name for expert pool service. Family owned and operated. Call 246-2666 or visit surfsidepools.net.
License number CPC 044080.
Did you know that basketball and volleyball were invented at the YMCA? That's right, and even today, the Y continues to lead the way in youth sports programming, from toddlers just starting out to teens ready to compete. The Y offers skill development, recreational play, and competitive leagues, all in a fun, supportive environment. Get your child in the game to build character and skills at the Y. Registration is now open for youth volleyball and soccer at fcymca.org.
When it comes to glass, you don't want average. You want flawless. Duval Glass and Mirror has transformed homes and businesses across Jacksonville for over 35 years. Frameless showers that wow, mirrors cut exactly to your style, fogged or broken glass replaced, decorative tabletops, windows replaced or repaired to stand up to Florida storms. All backed by a 100% guarantee. Visit DuvalGlass.com for your free quote. There's only one name for glass and mirror around these parts. It's Duval!
Hey folks, this is Denny Thompson, and when it comes to protecting my home, I turn to Tyson, the leaders in state-of-the-art home security right here in Jacksonville. Their AI cameras and smart doorbells are top-notch, keeping an eye on what matters most. Whether you're moving in or upgrading, Tyson offers flexible packages, rent or own, with specials on the first 3 years. Ramp up now for the holidays, the perfect gift for you or someone you love. Call Tyson today at 590-7979 for details.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then, strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Why wait for a reason to send flowers? Celebrate life's little wins, or just celebrate you. Stop into the showroom on Beach and Southside, or online at JacksonvilleFlowerMarket.com. Jacksonville Flower Market. We make every day bloom.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Hacker, After Dark on 1010XL.
Glad you're with us. Monday night, Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. All right, what a college football world we are living in. I mean, you look at the situation around the country right now. You got the Indiana Hoosiers, who are arguably the best team in the country. Certainly one of the best teams in the Big Ten and ranked in the top 5. You got Georgia Tech, who's 8-0 for the first time in forever. And I love Brent Key. I've made that very well known that if it were me, if I was making the Gator hire, I would probably hire Brent Key over other candidates that are being thrown out there. And then you got Vanderbilt, who literally may have the Heisman Trophy frontrunner right now in Diego Pavia. And they are ranked in the top 10 in America, and they have another gigantic game against the Texas Longhorns. Indiana, Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, all in the top 10. And you have now coaches being fired at Penn State, at Virginia Tech, at Florida, and now at LSU. Welcome to college football 2025, the land of NIL, the land of the transfer portal, the land of this is not your dad's college football, this is not even your older brother's college football. It is a new landscape of college football. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party is here in Jacksonville on Saturday, 3:30 kick between Florida and Georgia. Last time it will be in Jacksonville for a few years, right? Because the Stadium of the Future is coming. The game will be in Atlanta in 2026, Tampa in 2027, and then the hope is right back here, right, in 2028 with that brand new Stadium of the Future. And what an interesting game it is because Georgia probably lucky to be 6-1. You could legit argue that they could have lost to Tennessee. You could argue that they probably should have lost to Auburn. And you could argue that they could have lost to Ole Miss. And, of course, they did lose to Alabama. But nevertheless, they found ways to win. And now they are very comfortably in the college football playoff conversation. And their schedule actually eases up a little bit. You got Florida, Mississippi State, Texas, I think like Charlotte. And then their toughest game remaining will be Georgia Tech in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And what a game that might be. That could potentially be 2 top 5 teams in clean old-fashioned hate there in the state of Georgia between the Rambling Wreck and the Dogs. And then, of course, you got Florida. And Gator fan, we're going to talk about this all week long because I'm legitimately interested because I don't know the answer. I think I know the answer, but I'm not positive. In talking to my Gator brethren, my Florida alumni buddies, my Gator season ticket holder buddies, are you interested in these next 5 games? I mean, you still have 5 games left to play, right? Or is it all about who is going to be the coach of Florida in 2026? And that's the only thing that matters. And the really interesting part is look who these 5 games are against. You got probably your 3 biggest rivals, right? All due respect to LSU. I think if you ask most Gator fans my age, mid to late 30s, early to mid 40s, I think they would certainly give you Georgia and Florida State. And I think most, not all, but most would probably say Tennessee over LSU. And those are 3 games still on your schedule. You could ruin Georgia's season, potentially, on Saturday. You could put the final nail in the coffin of Tennessee's season. You could add to the misery of Florida State's season. And, oh, by the way, one of your games left as well is against Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. And if you were to beat Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss in Oxford, you could ruin their season for a second consecutive year. There's a lot for Florida to play for. There's a lot to be excited about. But yet, there's not a lot of excitement, at least in the people that I talk to. It's all about the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes. Will he come to Florida? How much is it going to cost to get Lane Kiffin? If it's not Lane, who's it going to be? And what muddies the waters even more now is the job opening in Baton Rouge after they fired Brian Kelly last night. What a disaster Brian Kelly was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. No one's going to remember hardly anything about the games that he won. You know what people are going to remember Brian Kelly for? They're going to remember him for 2 things. Those weird, creepy recruiting dance videos that he did with visitors in Baton Rouge that finally his PR team and his sports information team told him to stop doing because they were really, really odd looking. And then, of course, he will be remembered for the fake accent trying to appease the Louisiana crowd the week he was hired. The man literally took a microphone, stepped on the basketball court in front of 15,000 LSU fans, and faked a Southern accent to try to fit in with his new fan base. Laughable. And that is what the Brian Kelly tenure at LSU will be known for. That, and I guess, of course, the fact that he's going to get $50+ million from LSU to simply not coach there any longer. But now the question is, all right, will they pursue Lane Kiffin? Well, maybe, right? That's certainly a possibility. Have you seen the narrative nationally? I'm going to ask Bill Bender of the Sporting News this coming up in less than 10 minutes as he's going to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Gator fan, were you fired up today watching some of the comments on social media, watching some of the comments from college football shows on just how much better the LSU job is than the Florida job? Lane Kiffin, according to these people nationally, well, he can say no to Florida, but you can't. I repeat, you can't say no to LSU. There's some jobs you simply can't turn down, and LSU's one of them. What is up with that? Since when did the national media decide to belly up with the LSU Bengal Tigers? Look, I don't know if LSU is a better job. It probably is in certain aspects. But some of these people are over the top about LSU this and LSU that and completely downgrading Florida to the point that I didn't just notice it. There was a lot of former Gators that noticed it and even some political figures in the state that noticed it and said a few things today. It was crazy. Crazy talk about LSU this and LSU that, and Kiffin has to go to LSU and doesn't need to be at Florida. Whether Lane Kiffin comes to Florida or not, whether Lane Kiffin goes to LSU or not, the bottom line is both LSU and Florida are now hiring their second coach in the span of 4.5 years. Because Napier and Kiffin were hired within 48 hours of each other. I'm sorry, Napier and Kelly. Napier and Kelly were hired within 48 hours of each other in November of 2021, and now they're fired 7 days apart in October of 2025. If not Lane Kiffin for Florida, who? Eli Drinkowitz, right? Jeff Brom, Brent Key. I wish Brent Key would be more in the conversation. I got one for you. How about Lincoln Riley? Would Lincoln Riley do anything for Gator Nation? We'll see. It's going to be a really interesting couple of months because Lane Kiffin's probably making the playoff. And if Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss make the playoff, this is going to be drawn out even longer into late December, or dare I say even early to mid-January. Can you wait that long if you're Florida or LSU to hire your coach? Let's talk about all of it, and let's preview, well, the game that's going to take place here in Jacksonville on Saturday, the cocktail party between the Dogs and the Gators. My buddy Bill Bender, national college football writer for the Sporting News. Bill does an absolutely terrific job covering the world of college football, and he joins me next on a Monday night here in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us right here on Hacker After Dark.
We send our best agent in the field.
I want you to find GoldenEye, find who took it, what they plan to do with it, and stop it.
Hayes Carline takes you behind enemy lines.
Man, he's like a super spy.
Activated by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, it only costs for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by November 6th.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dr. Kevin Kaplan, team physician for the Jaguars and proud member of Jacksonville's newest orthopedic dream team. At Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, we brought together 10 board-certified fellowship-trained surgeons, each one a specialist in their field, all working together to deliver smarter, faster care with better results. From sports injuries to joint replacements, we've got the right player for every position. Visit osjax.com and meet your team. That's osjax.com.
Like to learn how to fly an airplane? Well, you're not alone. High Flying Jacko here, inviting you to listen Sunday morning. We'll start your aviation career with a 60-minute ride on the airwaves of 1010XL. The High Flying Show, Sunday at 9 on 1010XL.
Joe C. here. Want to win 3 free nights up in Nashville for the Titans game? Come stay where I'll be staying at the Omni Nashville, right in the heart of the action. Just text GAME to 641-1010 and you're in to win 3 nights. That's GAME to 641-1010.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Jax is more than a city, beaches, suburbs, or a destination. We're a community that takes care of each other. I'm former Jaguar Tom McManus. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling is dedicated to serving you with respect and integrity. We haul construction debris or property cleanouts for managers, owners, and realtors. We do it all. Call 506-1256 for your free estimate today. We're here for you. We're veteran-owned and operated. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling.
Jacksonville is my hometown, and nobody knows roofing like me. I'm Ronnie, the owner of Brandon Roofing. We handle everything from repairs to full roof replacements, start to finish. We give honest quotes, use quality materials, and clean up like we were never there. We all look at Google reviews, so go ahead and check out ours. We're proud of all our 5-star ratings. I would say we treat you like family, but some people don't like theirs. Go to BrandonRoofing.com today to schedule your free roof quote.
License number CCC 1328006.
Fall is here. The air is crisp. Football is on, and the perfect backyard atmosphere starts with a high-quality fireplace from CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Hey, it's Joe C. Imagine nights by the fire, cheering on your team, surrounded by friends and family. CSS can transform your outdoor space into the ultimate game day destination. Stylish, warm, and built for memories. With several wood, gas, and electric options, let CSS make your backyard the best seat in the house. Visit CSSFireplaces.com.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker, After Dark, on 1010XL. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Florida, Georgia, Saturday, 3:30. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. For Georgia, it's all about one game at a time to try to make the college football playoff. For Florida, back on the field for the first time since the Billy Napier firing, Billy Gonzalez, the interim coach. And honestly, Gator Nation is probably a little more concerned with what is going to be the future at Florida as opposed to what's going to happen on Saturday. Let's talk about all of it with Bill Bender of the Sporting News, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Bill, how we doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. And, yeah, I think at a lot of schools right now, 8 in particular in the Power 4, it's more about what's going to be next season than what's left of this one.
No, there's no doubt. You and I spoke a month ago before a lot of this craziness happened. And since the last time you and I talked, Virginia Tech, Arkansas, Penn State, obviously now Florida and LSU have come open. Bill, you've done this for a long time, man. You ever seen anything like this?
We've had years with, a lot of coaches that have gone. Yeah, 20 plus. You've had years with 28, 27 coaches, but that's including the group of 5. So, but at this point in the year and last 3 weeks in particular, where it's like a Sunday tradition that we have a Power 4 coach get fired from James Franklin to Billy Napier, and then, of course, Brian Kelly on Sunday. I don't know if I've seen a phenomenon quite like it, and I still think we're trying to figure out how to negotiate coaching in the college football playoff era and dealing with failure in a 16-team SEC and an 18-team Big Ten.
Look, there's no doubt, and we'll get to the game here in Jacksonville between Florida and Georgia in a moment. We spent a lot of time last week talking about why it didn't work out for Billy Napier, and as you can imagine, everybody here is suffering from LKS, that's Lane Kiffin syndrome. Overwhelming majority of Gator fans want Lane Kiffin. And now the LSU job comes open last night, Bill, as you mentioned. How much will that complicate things for the Gators, in your opinion?
Well, I don't know how many teams Lane Kiffin can coach next year. I mean, between Florida and Ole Miss and LSU and, maybe Arkansas once and two, he's one way or the other, he's probably going to get some more money. I think, I'll start with Lane. I think part of the complication for him is, okay, you could leave for one of those places, but is it better than what you've accomplished? By the way, over the last 3 years, I looked this up, 4th best Power 4 record, Ole Miss. Done a fantastic job there. And he has a quarterback right now in Trinidad Chambliss who was making some next-level NFL throws over the weekend at Oklahoma, and they kind of got that off their back, winning on the road there. So, there's a lot of reasons to like what he's doing there.
And that's kind of the point that we brought up last week, and I got ridiculed a little bit by some Gator fans on social media, and that's fine. It won't be the first time, and it certainly won't be the last, but this is not 1995 anymore, right? This is not even 2010. In the land of NIL and the portal, look, I'm not saying Florida is not a better job than Ole Miss, but I think the gap has really narrowed in that regard, has it not?
A little bit. You can get ridiculed by whoever, but the bottom line is, Ole Miss is successful right now in the 12-team college football playoff era. Florida's pretty far removed from the Urban Meyer national championship era. 4 coaches removed. So, I think stability matters in some ways in college football. And had this conversation all day across the country where, I just think some of these universities in this era, if you really want to treat this like the NFL, then you're going to have to accept the fact that you're going to have some 8-4 seasons, especially in an SEC grinder where all of these teams are pretty good.
Bill Bender, national college football columnist for the Sporting News, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, Lane Kiffin. We know Florida's interested. Bill, how interested do you believe LSU will be in him?
I think also interested. That based on what I was just saying, that they've been hyper successful. I've kind of viewed them as the best program that has not reached a college football playoff. And Lane's got them right on the doorstep. They'd have to screw it up pretty bad here down the stretch not to get in this year. I do think both of those schools will be interested. It comes down to what Lane wants. I know Auburn wanted him at one point a couple years ago too. So it makes it very interesting. And I still think his best play is probably to stay at Ole Miss. As crazy as that sounds. I know Florida has top 10 classes. LSU's classes, they've had 5 straight top 10 classes. They don't finish outside the top 10 in recruiting. So, the money could get outrageous. And, one thing with LSU, the first thing they got to do is figure out the buyout. These buyouts are incredible.
They are incredible. Reportedly over $50 million for Brian Kelly. And Bill, you're the perfect person to ask because you cover it from a national basis. And I've seen a lot of national folks today talk about, how much better of a job LSU is than Florida. Say, well, Lane Kiffin would have had a choice between Ole Miss and Florida, but you don't really have a choice if LSU comes calling. That's a job you have to take. Do you agree that LSU is leaps and bounds a better job than Florida?
I don't know about leaps and bounds, but I think it's been proven that 3 of their last 4 head coaches have won national titles. Ed O won a national title, and they've been trying to recapture that 2019 team. That's why I think Joe Brady could be an interesting candidate for them, the Bills coach who has done a nice job as the offensive coordinator there. I think he's a viable candidate as well. But leaps and bounds, no, but better right now, yes. Just because, like I said, you're recruiting top 10 classes every year. It's not that Florida can't do that, but they have to do that. And you look at the records, it was ironic to me. I looked at it today. LSU and Penn State in the playoff era, they're separated by half a game. LSU's a half game better than Penn State.
That's wild. I'll give you one even wilder. Ole Miss and Florida, if you go back to 2015, Ole Miss has 81 victories. Florida has 80. So, we talk about a better job. Based on wins and losses, at least in the last decade plus, that does not compute because Ole Miss is every bit as good a job as Florida based on win total. Bill, all right, a couple more for Bill Bender of the Sporting News. If not Lane Kiffin for the Gators, take LSU out for a moment for our audience. If not Lane Kiffin, who is that second or maybe even third phone call to?
Why not James Franklin? Very good. He's very good. Is he not getting a lot of excitement down there? Is it because of what happened at Penn State this year? He does know how to build a program. He knows how to win. I think Eli Drinkwitz is interesting. Alex Golesh at South Florida. I think I don't know if he's Florida ready, but he's a guy that I've had my eye on, and I think he's a very good coach. I know they lost last weekend, but I don't know. You tell me. Those are kind of the names that jump out to me, Franklin in particular, and that's the one that sticks out.
I just don't think it's the sexiest name for Gator fans, but I'll tell you who I'm a big fan of, and that's Brent Key. I love everything about Brent Key at Georgia Tech. He would be very high on my list.
The trick there, and you're not wrong, he is an outstanding coach and what he's been able to do and accomplish, and he has the SEC roots from Alabama. It is tricky to pull guys away from their alma mater, especially when they've had success. Last week, I don't know if this held up, last week there were 7 teams in the top 25 who were being coached by somebody who played there, from Kirby and Brent Key, Jeff Brom. These are guys that, like Jeff Brom, be a great candidate for Penn State. But I don't think they're going to be able to pull him away from Louisville.
I think Florida State would have the same trouble if they fire Norvell, because I hear all Florida State fans talking about Kenny Dillingham. Well, you got the same issue out there with Arizona State. Quickly, Norvell gets the vote of confidence to the end of the year. Do you expect Mike Norvell to be back in Tallahassee in 2026?
Maybe. These last couple games will have something to do with it. And, Ralph Russo from The Athletic tweeted something yesterday that made sense. Is the market getting crowded to the point that a couple places might hang on to their guy for another year? Now, I don't know what the answer to that is because everybody's going to be wanting to get their coach for next year. But Florida State, I think some of that will hinge on how they finish. Obviously, the Stanford loss was bad, and they're in the mix of this losing streak. And you know what? You and I have been around this long enough to know what the vote of confidence really means. So that means you better get it going in these last couple games.
Yeah, maybe they didn't have the $50 million a week ago. Maybe they'll find it in the next 6 weeks when the season ends. Final moments, Bill Bender of the Sporting News. All right, you and I have gone 10 minutes here. We haven't even talked about the cocktail party on Saturday. Look, it is what it is, right? Florida's got a lot of talent, but they have underachieved. Georgia, clearly the better team. Florida, I do think, will play hard for Billy Gonzalez. But let's be real here, Bill. It's a tall order for the Gators on Saturday.
Yeah, we get to talk about a game. Holy cow. Georgia, 10 total yards of offense and a balanced offense in their last game, and I think Gunnar Stockton's really played well, and that's the challenge. Can you make Georgia turn it over? Can you give in to some of the things that make rivalries great and make a couple plays early? This Georgia defense is not one of their best ones, but been pretty good in SEC play for the most part. So I think it's a tough ask for Florida. I like Georgia in the ball game. Georgia has dominated. I looked at it today. I was like, man, they've won the last 4 by that many. So it's just kind of on Florida to make it a competitive game.
All right, Bill, Florida's open, LSU's open, Arkansas's open. When it comes to the Southeastern Conference, Auburn, Kentucky, anybody else might open in the next couple of weeks?
Well, that would be 2 that I would take a close look at. Auburn, obviously, a lot of close losses under Hugh Freeze, and if they don't make a bowl game, I could see that being a thing. Kentucky, we'll see. Mark Stoops, and I think one of the guys there, John Summerall would make a lot of sense there with his connections to the program, but Mark Stoops is doing his best. But again, this is life in the SEC. When you have 16 teams, somebody's got to lose. But I also think Kentucky and Arkansas in particular, they got to be thinking, hey, we're watching Mizzou and Vandy playing like the best game in this slot last Saturday. Why can't we be doing that? And I think that will be that'll go a long way into the thinking in their next hire.
Leave us with this. You mentioned Vandy, maybe the best story in college football this year, them and Georgia Tech. Who do you like between Vandy and Texas on Saturday?
I picked Texas, but I don't love it. I think their defense is very good. They're at home. I don't know if Arch Manning will play. It sounds like he didn't practice Monday. Concussion, and they could go with the backup quarterback. I do like that Texas defense a lot. Big moment for Vandy because if they get that one, the playoff path is super wide open, and I think they're in. Even if they lose to Tennessee at that point, a 10-2 Vandy team would be deserving of the college football playoff.
A 10-2 Vandy team, Clark Lee joins the conversation for some of these jobs, correct? But again, that's his alma mater.
Yeah, and that's the tough part, like what he's building there. He would there's a certain amount where it's like, okay, how much money would it take, to do that? But he has taken a lot of pride in his alma mater and what he's built there in a short time. And again, in this NIL transfer portal world, 5 years ago, you told me Vandy, Georgia Tech, Indiana, all in the top 10, I would have said no way. So it is part of the world we live in.
Bill, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, heading into the cocktail party on Saturday, plus all this coaching carousel stuff, what you guys have coming out on the Sporting News in the coming days and weeks.
Yeah, I'm at Bill Bender 92 at Sporting News. We'll have, trying to think, I got a story with the Chad Powers director this week. We have more than enough coaching carousel material. And, like I said, we're getting into week 10, and that means November, and we're one week away from the first college football playoff ranking. So I actually think the carousel has overtaken the playoff race, which has been totally wild.
It's been a crazy college football season, and it will get crazier as we move along. Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Bill, I know you're busy. Thank you for taking time out for us here in Jacksonville, and we'll talk again soon, pal.
Hey, anytime. Thanks for having me on.
Sometimes it's an offensive show.
You gotta be kidding me.
Sometimes it's a show of offensive discipline.
There are no words.
Listen for the Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game on 1010XL.
Business owners, are you tired of getting the runaround from your plumbing or AC vendors? Fire them now and call Duck Duck Rooter. Duck Duck Rooter is the trusted partner for some of the largest commercial companies in Northeast Florida. From a professional accounting office that makes contracts and invoicing seamless to highly skilled field technicians who fix the problems fast, they handle it all. Make the smart move today with Duck Duck Rooter. Call 904-862-6769. 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Rooter, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Frank Frangie here for Coyle & Sons Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports moments. Remember the 2017 AFC Championship game when Miles Jack wasn't down? You know what else isn't down? Fences installed by Coyle. Their fences have been standing tall here in Jacksonville for nearly a century. Since 1927, Coyle has been the fencing leader in Northeast Florida. If you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today at 904-356-4821. CoyleJacks.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E Jacks.com. Coyle Fencing, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Will the call of the dogs be the hedge to victory? Or will the Gator Walk come through Jacksonville? Florida Georgia Week is enhanced by Ackerman Urology and Cancer Center and 904 Gutters with a Z on 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Post-game Monday on 1010XL is served up by Dandy Foods, making quality fresh sandwiches since 1956.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is now available at the Fresh Market Spirits and Wine. The Fresh Market Spirits and Wine is a new adult beverage store offering spirits, wine, beer, and accessories at A1A North in Ponte Vedra, a first-of-its-kind destination for thoughtfully curated spirits, wine, and beer as only the Fresh Market can. And now, you can get Brackish Vodka at the Fresh Market. Brackish Vodka, for whatever your sport is. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Congrats to former Florida special teams ace Brandon James and safety Todd Johnson's induction into the Florida Georgia Hall of Fame. Friday, October 31st, presented by Miller Electric. To attend, go to flgajax.com/Hall of Fame.
Hi folks, Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Frank Frangie here. No surprise I've been on the golf course a lot lately. When I hit a 9-iron from the fairway, it kind of reminds me of my front lawn. I recently called and had my lawn professionally top dressed by topdressing.com. They did it one day. They were absolutely meticulous. I'm already seeing the results, and now I realize why they are making everyone the king of the block. Give them a try at 888-850-1850 and get your lawn top dressed like a pro with topdressing.com.
How much do the performers for Super Bowl halftime shows get paid?
Filing an insurance claim following a storm shouldn't be an ordeal. Southern Oak Insurance's claim team prepares for catastrophic situations well in advance. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Super Bowl performers are not paid for their shows, but production costs are covered by the NFL, which could go as high as $15 million.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks. I love Hello Smooth Med Spa, my go-to for skin health and beauty. Their biggest event of the year is November 19th, National Botox Day. Huge deals, local vendors, and it benefits Make-A-Wish. Don't miss it. Visit HelloSmooth.com for more details.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $3,600 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Kuhn Flowers announces their home holiday decorating team is now taking orders for the holiday season. This is JJ with 1010XL. No more hassling with tree buying, untangling, and hanging burned out lights. Call on Kuhn Flowers, they'll do it all.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker, After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us till 10 o'clock. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. A couple of scores to update you on. Top of the fourth. Game 3 of the World Series, Toronto and the Dodgers. And the Blue Jays have a 4-2 lead. Top 4, series tied 1-1. We'll see what happens, but certainly a very competitive series. Ohtani has gone deep tonight for the Dodgers, a solo shot, but they do trail Toronto 4-2 in the top of the fourth. 2 outs. Again, series tied 1-1. And Monday Night Football, look, no Jaden Daniels for the Commanders, but they're holding their own. Marcus Mariota has thrown a touchdown to Terry McLaurin. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs were up 7-0. Washington has tied it at 7, under a minute to go until halftime. So a decent showing by Mariota and the Commanders. Also, the Commander defense has picked off Mahomes twice tonight to keep his team in it. 7 apiece, under a minute to go at Arrowhead between Kansas City and Washington. You know, the big story, and we're going to go down to Gainesville in just a moment. Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247 will join us to preview Florida, Georgia a little bit, but mainly look at the Gator coaching situation from the University of Florida perspective. You know, Florida fans, and I said this last week, it's all about LKS, right? It's Lane Kiffin syndrome. Everybody wants Lane Kiffin. Are you beginning to rationalize at least the thought? Are you beginning to have at least the idea that it may not be Lane Kiffin? With LSU opening, Ole Miss looks like they're bound for the playoff. There could be some potential factors that are going to hurt Florida in their pursuit of Lane Kiffin. You could argue that if they would have done this last year and fired Billy Napier last year, that it would have been much easier to get Lane Kiffin, which certainly will not be a good look for Scott Strickland if they ultimately do not land Lane Kiffin. But if not Lane Kiffin, then who? Well, I think the betting odds would tell you Eli Drinkowitz. I think some people would tell you Jeff Brom. Some people would tell you Brent Key. I love Brent Key. I've also thrown Lincoln Riley into the equation. I just hope that you as a Florida Gator fan, if you've put all your eggs, right, all your chips in the middle of the table of the Lane Kiffin basket, you just realize that there are things at play working against Florida hiring Lane Kiffin. I don't think it would be the end of the world to bring in Eli Drinkowitz. I don't think it would be the end of the world, certainly, to bring in Brent Key. He might be my top choice. I think Lincoln Riley is an intriguing name. Jeff Brom is an intriguing name. Florida's going to hire a good coach from a Power 4 school. You're not going to go the John Summerall route or the Golish route from South Florida. You've already done that with McElwain. Did not work, obviously. You did that with Billy Napier. Did not work. They're going to have a much bigger thought as to who they want to get, and I believe they will get a current Power 4 coach. I just don't know with certainty if it's going to be Lane Kiffin. At this point, I would tend to doubt it simply because the factors that are at play against Florida, the LSU job being number 1, and Ole Miss potentially making the playoff number 2. As far as the world of college football, the Vanderbilt Commodores, how about some love for Clark Lee? Right? When are we going to start talking about Clark Lee for some of these jobs? Now, I realize he's at his alma mater, just like Brent Key is in Atlanta, just like Jeff Brom is at Louisville, and just like Kenny Dillingham is at Arizona State. that does complicate things. But Clark Lee has the Vanderbilt Commodores 7-1 on the year, ranked number 9 in America, with a potential Heisman Trophy finalist at quarterback in Diego Pavia. What a story Vanderbilt is. Indiana continues to be a great story. They are just destroying teams basically every weekend. Again, great story by Georgia Tech at 8-0. They haven't been 8-0 in forever. I like where we are in college football. I do think the transfer portal has gotten out of control. I don't like the fact that kids can transfer 3 or 4 times. I think something needs to be done about that. Has the NIL money got ridiculous? Yeah, it probably did, and they're trying to reel that back in a little bit. But the parity that NIL and the portal have caused, and you look right now at Indiana, Georgia Tech, and Vanderbilt being top 10 programs, where you look at Penn State, LSU, and Florida firing their head coaches for underperformance, I think it's cool. It's different, and that's what I like. I like different, and college football has certainly looked very different in 2025. It'll look very different for Florida next year on the coaching sideline. Who is going to replace Billy Napier, and what are the odds of Florida pulling off the upset Saturday at the cocktail party here in Jacksonville against the Georgia Bulldogs? My buddy Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247, does a terrific job covering the Florida Gators. He joins me next on a Monday night here in the city of Jacksonville. We're with you till 10 o'clock, Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Hey folks, it's Frank Frangie for Lee and Kate's Glass. They say you're going to see a big difference, but what does that really mean? It means a live local person on the phone, a smooth, easy process, skilled craftsmen, and excellent customer service all around, with your satisfaction absolutely guaranteed. Visit LeeandKatesGlass.com.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Bueller,
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, you look troubled. Is something bugging you?
This friendship isn't all upside for me, Jason. People keep asking me stuff about you.
They ask you about me?
Is it really cooler with Bueller, they ask? So I say, totally. And they say, how do you mean that? And I say, he fixes air conditioners, which literally makes somebody cool. But he also has cool sunglasses and cool people and a cool family.
And I try to make working at Bueller Air and Plumbing a really cool experience for our technicians and plumbers. We treat our people like gold, and they treat our homeowners the exact same way.
Great. Well, now there's another cool thing I've got to remember. This is a lot of responsibility, Jason.
Life can get hectic sometimes. If you don't take a moment to slow down and appreciate all the cool parts, you could miss it.
Do people ask you about me at all?
Weirdly, they do.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On October 28th, 1989, the Oakland Athletics sweep the San Francisco Giants in the World Series after Game 3 was delayed 10 days from an earthquake.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Here's a health and wellness tip from Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville.
Every joint in the body was designed for movement. Inactivity can cause stiffness, weakness, weight gain, and decrease in overall balance. So you should strive for at least 30 minutes a day of exercises that promote flexibility like yoga, strengthening with weights, and cardiovascular fitness like walking, swimming, or biking. The more you move, the better you will feel, and your overall health will benefit. Let's get healthy, Jacks. Go Jazz.
Stay healthy with Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville. Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
City Rescue Mission has been providing food, clothing, and love for over 70 years to the homeless in Jacksonville. If someone you know is struggling, City Rescue Mission is here to help. Learn more about the City Rescue Mission at crmjax.org.
If you know someone with cancer and no insurance, call the U.S. Uninsured Helpline at 800-234-1317.
The Creeks Athletic Association in St. Johns County offers a variety of sports for children 5 to 18. Learn how to get your child involved at caale.org.
Builders Care is looking for volunteers, and there are so many ways you can help. Find out how at builderscare.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
What do the letters AM and FM stand for?
Filing an insurance claim following a storm shouldn't be an ordeal. Southern Oak Insurance's claim team prepares for catastrophic situations well in advance. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
In radio lingo, AM stands for amplitude modulation. FM stands for frequency modulation.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Florida, Georgia, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, Saturday, 3:30. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. First game for Florida since the firing of Billy Napier, and, of course, the final cocktail party in Jacksonville for a couple of years. With the Stadium of the Future being built, it will go to Atlanta in 26, Tampa in 27, before returning to Jacksonville in 2028. Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247, always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Zach, how we doing, man?
Doing fantastic, Hacker. Although I'll tell you what, we thought that this was a long season last time we talked and the way things were going, but now it's really full steam ahead on this coaching search, really adding a layer to my responsibilities. It's been a hectic week and a half, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely wild. Obviously, you and I haven't spoke since the firing of Billy Napier, Billy Gonzalez, the interim coach. We'll get to the coaching search. We'll get to the game in a moment, but you're as close to that program as anybody. What is the vibe over there in Gainesville now, a week after Napier's dismissal?
I mean, externally, I think there's a lot of people who've, taken a sigh of relief, right? Because, so many Florida fans had their frustrations, and rightfully so, and it feels as though, all right, finally, we're moving on, and hopefully to bigger and better things. Internally, I think that there was disappointment, not to say that anyone was necessarily out there fighting for Billy Napier to be kept around, but, all along, regardless of the results, I think these players and a lot of the coaching staff really did respect and appreciate, internally at least, what Billy Napier had built, the systems he put in place, some of the changes that he made along the way behind the scenes. So players, especially, they in a sense, I guess, feel like they lost a friend with Billy Napier being let go. But at the same time, Billy Gonzalez, the new interim head coach, obviously someone with a lot of experience here at Florida, 12 seasons plus as a wide receivers coach, a lot of experience in this upcoming game for one. He's energetic. I think that they probably made the best choice that they could have among the interim staff, just to, with the familiarity of the program, the expectation, and players certainly respect him. And he's been saying from all the meetings that he's had with these guys is as soon as he was named the interim, as soon as everyone was given a little bit of time just to catch their breath following Napier's firing, they were excited to get out on the field and start preparing for Georgia. So that's what they've been up to.
Yeah, I saw Billy Gonzalez earlier today at his Monday press conference. Impressive guy. We'll see what ultimately happens Saturday here at the cocktail party. We'll get to that in a moment. We'll talk about Lane Kiffin in a second. That's the guy that every Gator fan seemingly wants. Maybe that got complicated a little bit last night when LSU pulled the plug on Brian Kelly. What was the reaction in Gainesville earlier today, knowing LSU is also open now?
I'm sure, just like last time, Florida fans and maybe people internally as well see this as a potential roadblock, but it really, because of how early this is now and how, compared to Florida, how quickly it fell apart with Brian Kelly, even with the tension that I think goes back to last year. But the expectations were higher than Florida's, I think, this year. And the way things fell apart in a matter of weeks, it was all of a sudden, okay, yeah, maybe Brian Kelly's out, then boom, he's out. I don't know. I feel like Florida probably feels as though they at least have the head start. And who's to say that maybe they won't go in a totally different direction? You know, the circumstances being different. Kelly having the, $54 million buyout paired with his staff, whereas Billy Napier's was around 20 to 21. Florida probably feels as though they have some advantages to go about with Brian Kelly being let go. But, until the ink is dried on respective coaching contracts for each school, I'm sure it'll feel a good bit like late 2021 ahead of the 2022 season when both of these positions were open, and they're two prestigious SEC schools that can certainly pull in among some of the best candidates.
Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247. Yeah, to me, that's a crazy side note to this. Brian Kelly and Billy Napier were hired 48 hours apart back in November of 2021. They're fired 7 days apart in October of 2025. Absolutely wild timing that both LSU and Florida are once again back open. Lane Kiffin, Zach, I mean, this is crazy that he should be worrying about getting Ole Miss to the playoff, and I'm sure he is. Everybody else is talking about Florida, LSU, this, that, or the other. I mean, in Gator Nation in particular, my goodness, man, an overwhelming majority of Gator fan is suffering from LKS, Lane Kiffin syndrome. I mean, where are we with Lane Kiffin in Florida right now? You would have to think back channel conversations have probably gone on.
Yeah, and those are, I think because of the reality of Ole Miss being, I would say a playoff contender. You look at the rest of their schedule right now and shoot, what's the toughest game left? Is it Florida? I mean, Mississippi State's up in that conversation too with the way they've been playing, and that being the Egg Bowl at Mississippi State, that'll not be easy. But South Carolina, the Citadel, Florida, Mississippi State, it's hard to imagine Ole Miss not making the playoff at this point. That'll definitely complicate. Even if, and I've been led to believe from anyone I talk to, Lane Kiffin is at the top of Florida's board, whether it's internal, whether it's the boosters, obviously the fan base, anyone you talk to. I think the expectation here is that Florida is going to aggressively pursue Lane Kiffin. But I don't envision him leaving Ole Miss before the college football playoff. I don't see many schools taking the Brian, or coaching candidates for that matter, taking the Brian Kelly route of leaving their team before a significant postseason game or potentially games. But I would imagine that there's some sort of back channeling at least going on, gauging his interest, talking to Jimmy Sexton, seeing what the interest level would be and what it would require for Florida to ultimately get Lane Kiffin. The question to me now is, if this ends up being a college football playoff team, if Lane Kiffin has truly gotten Ole Miss to that caliber of contending football program, what is his interest level? What are the requirements going to be on his end for him to pack up and leave? Is it just a bigger salary? Because I'm not entirely sure what Ole Miss will be able to afford if there are bidding wars going on here. Will it be the stability of more than 4 years on a contract, as Ole Miss and other Mississippi schools are not able to do that? Is it the resources? I mean, I think that Lane Kiffin at this point has the right to be picky and choosy about what he wants in his next job, if he's even going to take one. So this is going to be something that it's going to take a bit to play out. And you got to wonder just how patient will Florida be? If they're dedicated, if they want Lane Kiffin, I think you wait until you're able to hire him. I know that's a risk, but it's a risk I think Florida's got to be willing to take if that's the guy that they want.
Zach, if it's not Lane Kiffin, and again, that's who everybody wants, but if it's not Lane Kiffin, the most popular name after him, I guess, would be Drinkowitz from Missouri, and I think that would be interesting. I've told you this, man. I'm on the Brent Key bandwagon. I don't hear as much Brent Key chatter with Florida as I would like, although maybe that's beginning to pick up as well. But outside of Lane Kiffin, what do you think the pecking order is over there?
It's really tough to gauge because, if anything, it just kind of validates to me that Lane Kiffin is definitely the guy that's at the top of the board. You don't hear as much consensus surrounding some of these other candidates. But Drinkwitz is someone that I'm sure is on the list, given the success he's had in the SEC in particular. I know a lot of people talk about Marcus Freeman. From everything I've been able to gather, I think it would be pretty expensive for any school that wants him to try and buy him out at Notre Dame after the extension he got this past year. And quite frankly, I don't know if he's looking anywhere else. I think he's happy with where he's at. And if there were other opportunities that were to come up for him, they would be very specific ones. I don't know if Florida it would be funny if LSU went back to back on taking coaches from Notre Dame, but I don't think LSU, not too sure about Penn State, would really be in the running for a guy like that. Again, Drinkwitz is someone who makes sense. I'm just not hearing a ton about others. James Franklin, from what I understand, views Florida as the top job on the market. I think he also probably realizes that Florida wants Lane Kiffin. So how hard is he going to push for that job? Now, if Lane Kiffin ultimately comes out and does not come to Florida, I could see James Franklin really trying to make a push to get Florida to at least consider him. But then you go into the tiers, the Brent Keys, the Jeff Broms. Again, these are just coaches that, I think Florida's probably vetted. I just don't know if they're close enough to the top of the board where Florida is willing to turn up the heat and at least make sure that they remain interested as they go through this search.
Final moment, Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247. I promise we'll get to the game at the end here. Lincoln Riley. Why do I get the sense that he might be wanting out of Southern Cal? And it would not shock me at all if his name starts popping up for Florida, LSU, maybe Penn State.
I tend to agree with you, and while I'm not super connected to Southern Cal, I had him as an honorable mention on my first top board, just because you hear it every year. You heard it back in 22 or 21, I guess, that he had an interest in the Florida job. He ultimately gets the huge deal he gets at Southern Cal, and that all kind of goes away. But I don't necessarily think that interest has faded. And with the way things have gone out there, I think it's easy to look at that and say, wow, he has not lived up to a $110 million contract. USC can't fire him because of the buyout. Would they be hard pressed to fight him on trying to leave on his own? I don't necessarily think so. So it all comes down to what he values. If he wants an out because he's not happy there, then, I think it's a somewhat easy decision. At the same time, I don't know. I'm not a coach, so I don't have a contract on my desk like this. But if I'm sitting there looking at a $80-ish million buyout, I would tell the school, yeah, you're gonna have to fire me, man. I'm gonna want that money. But no, he's someone I'm keeping my eye on at a bare minimum.
I mean, look, you and I have talked for 11 minutes. Now we'll finally get to the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. And my concern is, look, obviously inside the program, they know they have 5 games left. They want to do well. Honestly, from a Gator fan perspective, I don't know how many people really care what goes on over these next 5 weeks. I don't know how many people really think they're going to beat Georgia or Ole Miss or Tennessee. What's your thought on Saturday? I mean, how competitive will Florida be in your opinion?
I think they'll be competitive just because even as things were going as poorly as they were under Billy Napier to start this season, and this isn't to suggest that Florida was greatly competitive, but we could have seen the team quit. I think we could have easily seen players, especially at that first bye, start to take a step back and give less effort at a minimum, if not just straight up pull out. That's not been the case, and it seems as though that remains the case even after the coach has been fired and they've installed an interim. I think that they're energized too. They know the importance of their film being their resume, whether they're going to stay here under a new coach, whether they're going to try and go somewhere else. They realize there's a lot of ball left to play, and it would not be a great look for any players to take it lightly. And these players, I mean, to give Billy Napier some credit, I do think he built a culture here where players have a lot of respect for the logo that they play for. They care about it. It means something. And in this day and age, we've seen that less and less. We see players not being as loyal as they used to be. When the transfer portal is there, they can find better opportunities much easier. And sometimes not even better, but just other opportunities. And I've not seen any player fall victim to that mindset at this point. So I would expect, even though Georgia's the superior team, they've got the dogs, they've got the talent, even with some of the questions they've had this season. I'm not necessarily saying Florida stands a chance to go in there and upset Georgia, but I do think we'll see a team come out with some fight.
Zach, final question. Hop on a magic carpet ride with me to La La Land here. If Billy Gonzalez wins out, would he be in consideration at all?
I want to say no, if only because I think Scott Strickland and Florida realized the importance of this hire and needing to go get someone that's more proven to, go and contend for national championships. And not that that's some wide pool, but at least coaches who have shown enough potential that you could believe they could get there at Florida. And Billy Gonzalez, even if he wins 5 games, that's a 5-game sample size. I think Florida fell victim last year to a small sample size and its faith in its head coach. And I would be surprised even if Billy Gonzalez does such a fantastic job where they win out, they wouldn't necessarily want to do that again. Now, could I see him sticking around as the wide receiver coach for the next team? Sure thing. I mean, this is his third stint. He's in his 13th season, I believe, coaching the team. Obviously, his resume speaks for itself. I do think, especially if they go 5-0 or even 4-1, just have a strong end to the year, there will at least be a case made internally by Gonzalez and maybe others that he should be on the next staff.
And by the way, I think Florida has about as much chance of winning out as I do walking on the moon by the time Christmas rolls around. So I don't plan on getting my NASA card anytime soon. So I don't expect that to happen. But the question certainly had to be asked. I will, however, be going to Swamp 247, 247sports.com, getting ready for the cocktail party on Saturday. Zach, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville the coverage you guys will have over there at Swamp 247.
Yeah, we're ramping up on Georgia in game week in what feels like a normal time in the season again, because last week, Graham, Tyler, and I, from every angle that we could, were covering the beginning of this coaching search, the what went wrongs with Billy Napier's tenure here at the end. I'm looking forward to having a game to cover. I'll tell you what, I know that this coaching search and everything that comes with it, the fallout from when they hire a coach, how demanding that'll be in terms of us creating content. So I'm excited. I'm ready to just go and cover a game at this point.
Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247. Zach, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time, and we'll head over to Swamp 247 to get ready for the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Appreciate you, my friend.
Always, Hacker. Appreciate you.
And thank you to Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark as we got the Gator perspective on the Florida-Georgia matchup on Saturday. But obviously, I mean, we talked a little bit about the game, but primarily it's about the Billy Napier firing, who is going to replace Billy Napier at the University of Florida. How does the LSU job opening now affect what's going on in the Gator coaching search? There's all kinds of stuff to talk about. And oh, by the way, they do actually play the football game Saturday at 3:30. Billy Gonzalez is the interim head coach. We will see how he does. Look, Florida's got a lot of talent, right? They got a lot of really good players. They have not performed well this year. We'll see what happens now without Billy Napier. But it is interesting, at least early in the week, how the game appears to be, well, quite frankly, secondary to what is going on with the Gator coaching search. But we will get more Florida guys on, more Georgia guys on throughout the week here on Hacker After Dark as we preview the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. We also spent some time on the college coaching carousel. Again, wild times. Florida is open. Penn State is open. Arkansas, Virginia Tech, and now you throw LSU into the mix after firing Brian Kelly last night. This offseason might be the craziest coaching carousel that we maybe have ever seen in college football, or certainly in a long, long time. And we certainly talked about the Jacksonville Jaguars back at the Miller Electric Center off their bye week. They have a huge one on Sunday out in Las Vegas against the Raiders. They have a day off tomorrow, then back at it on Wednesday. I'll be down in the Jaguar locker room on Wednesday as they prepare for Las Vegas in what I think is probably a must-win situation for Jacksonville. Well, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Monday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247. Always appreciate Zach joining us here on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to Bill Bender, National College Football writer of the Sporting News, as we talked about the firing of Billy Napier, the firing of Brian Kelly out with LSU, the Penn State job opening, and the coaching carousel, where some of these guys may land. First and foremost, certainly talked about the potential future and the decision that Lane Kiffin will have to make. It will be fascinating to see how all that plays out. And then back in hour number one, my buddy Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, a little Monday night coaching with Campo here on Hacker After Dark as we previewed the second half of the Jaguar season that gets underway on Sunday on the road out in Las Vegas. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Tuesday, and we will do it all over again. Early start time, Tuesday and Wednesday this week. We will be 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So I will join you 6 o'clock tomorrow night for a Tuesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. Want to thank Aaron for being in tonight, for Dylan Denmark. Aaron, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Monday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have a terrific remainder of your Monday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Tuesday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
A high-performance machine raises eyebrows and holds your attention.
And play big-time football on a big-time stage.
And so it is with the Performance Painting High-Performance Play of the Game.
Somebody got to make a play.
On 1010XL.
You lost your swing. We got to go find it.
It's your Saturday morning swing adjustment.
Grip it and rip it.
Get the golf tips and talk to take your game to the next level. The Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday mornings at 10 on 1010XL.
Northeast Florida Auto, Power Sports, and RV dealers. Tom McMahon is here for Dealer Connect. The nation's #1 AI conference for dealers is coming to Jacksonville October 29th and 30th at the Marriott Sawgrass in Ponte Vedra Beach. It's 2 days of tackling the future of AI in automotive with some of the industry's biggest names. Keynote speaker, Hall of Famer Joe Theismann will autograph items to benefit the Tom Coughlin J Fund. Get tickets now at Dealer Connect 20.